His image is finished, but I'm still figuring out if I made the right calls during development. Even though I'm proud of the progress I've made with game development, I've only been using Unity and game deving since May this year, so I'm curious, how would you approach making a security camera horror game? My game has 4.5 million cameras and render textures, but every time I make something, I find out down the line, there's usually a more efficient way to do things. Since the last devlog, I've cleaned up the lighting, fixed a few UI bugs, struggled with resetting and restarting the game using a boot scene, and tried making some of the endings a little more interesting. It's not a huge leap in mechanics, but I felt like the presentation was more complete. Here's the finished security room. One thing I learned from my single playtester, things that are obvious to you are not obvious to the player. I've added lighting to make some areas more visible and changed the interact input to mouse click instead of E. My tutorial sequence, which I thought was crystal clear, ended up not being so. That sequence was so hard-coded and taped together with scotch tape that I didn't dare make any changes, so I just took it as a lesson for the next time I make one. My question for you is, how do you make a tutorial seem immersive, yet still teach the player the mechanics clearly? The sound design was also a huge mountain to get over. I knew I wanted volume sliders for the players, so I tried to route everything through Unity's audio mixer. Something I thought would be so simple turned into a complex problem. I'm sensing a pattern at this point in my game dev journey. I think mainly the issue with this game specifically was the fact that I was tuning in with security cameras. So the sounds had to keep playing even if no one was listening to give it that live vibe. This wasn't too hard to achieve with snapshots and mixer groups, but again, I feel like I really overcomplicated something that seems like there could be a better solution. With my solution, footsteps became something I felt was impossible to achieve without spending literal days on implementing it. As this was a 2-week jam, I decided against adding them. How do you approach audio in Unity? So that is his image. My second game jam entry and only a few months into learning Unity. It's free on itch.io if you want to try it. I'll link it in the description. I'd love to hear what you'd have done differently, especially if you've made short horror games or worked under tight deadlines. And if you're just starting out with Unity, let me know. Maybe we can swap tips and mistakes. I get like a comment a video, so I will read it. Have a good one.